Yeah, so first we will understand the overview of the product, the platform of APG, and we will
Mm-hmm.
try to see what exactly is APG, where does it fit in. So, in order to first understand APG, let's see how the yeah. All right. Yeah. So in any big enterprise, we have a lot of different systems. So
Mm.
they maintain their own set of records. So you have data lake, data warehouse, databases. In there can be a number of databases. There will be service-oriented architecture, or as we call them, the web services. Lot of different services, web services, and all those stuff. Okay. And then we have CRM, ERP, all kind of things. Okay. And then so usually what happens, in order to make these different systems talk to each other, uh, in order to enable their communication, so that CRP can talk to database, or data warehouse can talk to yep, database or CRM or whatever, in order enable them to communicate data. Usually we have ESB layer or integration layers. Okay. And so there's integration platforms. So there are like platforms like MuleSoft is one such ESB. IBM ESB is there. Oracle has ESB. All the big. I mean, there are different ESBs available, or integration platforms available. Okay, from different yeah, enterprises, big companies, and all. They provide all these integration platforms, and these integration platform, what they do is they make sure different systems are able to talk to each other. Okay, they will do the all kind of data conversion, transformations, all kind of thing. Okay. And enable the communication, basically. Okay. Now this thing works perfectly all right, as long as your data is within your network. So within your boundary, within your network, then it works perfectly fine. Okay. Now the problem comes when you have to make sure this data, or these feature that you have, right, feature or data, is available to outside of your network. Okay. To the outside world. Okay. So now every day, nowadays everyone, like, is going digital. When you say going digital means, they are having lot of different kind of applications. You can say some mobile apps are there, tabs are there, even all kind of smart devices now we have, right? We call it Internet of Things, IoT. I don't know if you are familiar with the term IoT or Internet of Things or
Yeah,
not.
yeah, I heard. Yep.
Right. So that's all kind of, because of IoT, now every device becomes a smart device, right? Home appliances, kitchen things, even the smart home, all kind of things, smart watches, every kind of every thing is now smart. So basically, so there are all the apps which are there to control all kind of things. So there are different apps for different things, and these apps can be either for your end customer. These apps can be even for your own employees also, or they can be partner systems. So there can be partner apps. So all kind of apps. So now everyone wants to build all kind of fancy apps. Okay. Now because of this, now the requirement is there to expose your feature, whatever feature you used to have inside. So all the you can say functions, method, whatever, all the features, that were there inside your system, to now you need to expose this to outside of your network, so to outside world. And that can only happen through APIs. So what exactly is API? In simple terms,
Okay,
any kind
okay.
of programming
One
language.
question, one question. So you said this ESB or integration layer, this is inside a company's network, wherein if they want to communicate between one system to another, right? But
Correct.
when it is going to digital, where example different applications are getting connected, uh, getting connected in the sense, for example, this apps, what you said, okay, they want to connect to what you mean,
These
outside of
systems.
the system want to get connected to inside of the network, that's what you're trying to say?
Correct.
Or-
Yes.
okay, so
Correct.
this apps wants to get connected to these systems which are mentioned in ESB or integration layer, that's what you're trying to say, right? As a
Correct.
database which is there, the apps want to connect to this database, so now that is being connected through API, correct?
Correct. So that's why. So
Okay,
there is a need of API. So what happens?
okay.
API, basically any program that you have built,
Hmm.
any kind of programming logic that you have, you make it available over the internet. So there will be URL. Okay, using the URL, anyone should
Hmm.
be able to call that. Okay, so there should be
Okay.
domain name, base path, whatever, and then obviously apart from URL, obviously there will be parameter. They should be able to send data from their side, and then API will provide them the response in the data, something like that. Okay, so there should
Hmm.
be, yeah. So some data will come from the, yeah, app. It can be not just a mobile app; it can be web application also, right? It
Yeah,
can
yeah.
be web
Anything. Yeah, yeah.
any kind of device, anything. Okay, so that is what.
Okay.
So okay, so this is, so now the requirement is there to make sure whatever data is there inside, okay, and whatever features which are exposed inside to internal systems, those features and all should be available to outside world, so that anything
Hmm.
which is outside of your domain or your network should be able to connect. Okay, they should be able to connect, they
Hmm.
should be able to send data from outside world to inside, from inside world to outside, right? So all these things. Now thing is that if you want to build any such system, okay, usually in the big enterprises the pace of change is very very slow. Okay, so you take a decision, by the time you decision and then you make it, you makes a system available, that system should be able to facilitate that kind of communication and all those stuff. Those kind of systems can take many months or a year from the conceptualization, from the day you conceptualize till you make it, the make the system available live in production. Okay, that can become, that can take a lot of time. Okay, where in the app side, in the apps, people can build all the apps within few days or few weeks. Within few weeks people can build all the apps very quickly. Within few weeks you can make it live to Google or Google Play Store or this in Apple Store or whatever, right? Any kind of thing. Okay, so these apps, in the app side the changes happen very fast. Okay, and on the enterprise level the changes are very very slow. Okay, so if you build a system which will make sure the systems are available, all the features or data is available to outside world. So uh, developing that kind of system or building that framework, okay, will take a lot of time. By the time your competitor might already make these things available, and and they can get a advantage over you, correct? So they will get a big user base and they will get advantage and all those. Usually when we want to expose the data to outside world or feature out to outside of your network, okay, there are five main things which are very very important. The first and most important thing is security, right? You make anything available on publicly, people are going to hack, correct? Especially for a big enterprise, right? So there are a lot of people, thousands or millions of people who are going to try to hack your data systems. Okay, so you have to make sure the first, the data is just the data that you are exposing, data features and all, that is secure. It is I mean, no one can hack it. That is another thing. And then also when your data is available and people are building apps, sometimes those apps can be what you say, they can become popular overnight, as you know, right? So for example, someone had built a very nice app. That app for like a couple of weeks, it is only thousands of users. After a few weeks there can be suddenly millions of users, right? So there can be a lot of downloads and there can be millions of users. So
Yeah,
your
scalable.
yeah, so your system should be able to scale up to meet the demands, right? So there can be like sometimes you might have thousands of request, sorry, yeah, thousands of requests in 1 hour.
Hmm.
It can be hundreds of thousands in 1 hour, correct? It can go
Hmm.
grow
Hmm.
exponentially. So your
Right.
system should be able to handle to that much amount of traffic, right? So the
Hmm.
traffic will be increasing accordingly, correct? So you should be able
Hmm.
to scale up, meet those demands. And apart from that, you should be able to manage, because what kind of data is coming from outside world to inside. Okay, which kind of data is going from inside to outside. Okay, and which are the features that you want to expose, and how if you expose any API, you make sure an API is available for something, then you should be able to upgrade, upgrade the API. Or later on, if the old APIs, you should be able to decommission, those kind of things. So manage every aspect of the data and APIs. Okay,
Hmm.
apart from that, so now you can see here, uh, anything that comes out of, I mean, out from outside to the inside will be going through this framework, correct? This layer or
Hmm.
this framework. So that becomes a single source of truth for all the data that comes inside your system or that goes outside of your system. Okay, So you should be able to get a lot of data. You should be able to analyze that traffic, okay, get the traffic data, analyze data, create a lot of meaningful graphs and charts, there can be a lot of meaningful information or can be found from here, right? So you should be able to
mm,
create all kind of different graphs and charts, reports and all, and take informed decisions, okay. So you should be able to do the analytics, basically perform the analytics thing, okay, analytics on the data. And also all these systems should be able to provide a single connected experience. When I say connected experience means what happens, so for example, if someone is making any change from the mobile app, okay, someone makes a change from mobile app, that change also should be available on the website, okay. So if I make a change from my mobile app, okay, and then, so for example, I use net banking app, right? I'm using a mobile banking
mm,
app. I use a mobile banking app. I just made a
mm,
transaction, right? And then after just few seconds after only, I log into internet banking. I log into internet banking from my laptop. Whatever transaction I have done, that should be immediately reflected there, correct? So that is the whole
mm,
idea, right? That is what is meant by
mm,
connected experience. It should not be like for 30 minutes it is not showing up anything, correct? Like
mm,
this.
mm.
Whatever information is there on channel one, it should be same across all the channels, okay. And
Okay.
also there should be a common standard using which all kind of different channels or different consumer, different type of consumer, different channels should be able to you know consume the data or consume the APIs, okay. We call them
Mm,
REST standards, okay. We call them REST because that is the common standard using HTTP protocol. We'll cover REST also, okay. But just for just for this understanding purpose, so we have a common standard called REST. Using the REST standards, all different kind of systems, it can be mobile app, it can be web app, it can be smart application, whatever, they can make a call to our system using our APIs, and they can consume the data, okay. And they will because the data is coming through this channel, this is like a common framework, correct? This is a common layer. Now because this
mhm.
layer is going to be common, so any kind of update or anything, update or retrieval, whatever, will be reflected immediately, okay, like this. So that is, so yeah, so all these kind of things, these things are the most important when you are trying to yeah, create a framework or creating a layer which will allow your features to be exposed in a API to outside world, okay. So these are the important most thing. And this is what APG Edge provides, or APG APGX, same thing, right? So
Mm,
this is APGX, but APGX the same thing, right? The product. So this is what APG provides. Okay. So
mm,
APG comes inbuilt with all kind of things. So security. Now remember one thing, APG is a API management platform or API gateway. Okay, gateway or management
mm.
platform we call it. Okay. APG is not the end system, right? So for your consumers,
Yeah,
they will call APG. It is a middleware, right? Basically, it's a middleware.
correct.
It's not the
Mm,
end thing. So APG will need a backend system or backend service. Okay. So so that's why APG will fit. So you already have a framework ready where internal integration platforms and all those are there and all those stuff. APG will sit on top of that. Okay. So you must be having a backend system available. Okay, which can be the backend of APG. So APG will only put it. You put APG there. Okay, and provide all those five features that we added. So APG provides all those five features out of box. So that way, when you want to create any API, okay, or make any feature available to your consumer, it can be done very quickly, very fast. Okay, so that way your speed of innovation will increase. Okay, so APG provides all the framework ready. So just whatever API you want to discuss within few days or few weeks itself, you can get your all your APIs available to consumption. Okay, and consumer can start consuming, and APG is distributed by default. As a design itself, APG is distributed. So if you are installing APG anywhere, APG installation comes in such a way that you can install APG to a single server or to 10 server. Okay, it can be like this. So APG can scale up easily. Okay, and because APG is distributed, and the runtime traffic also is distributed, so if even if one server goes down, even if one server goes down, other servers will be available and they can serve the traffic. Okay, so that way your data, mission critical data, is safe. Okay. Now we also have a concept called digital value chain. Okay,
mhm,
so this is more like a marketing term with APG people use. Okay, So basically, what happens in any big enterprise, right? Any big enterprise and all, on the database layer, lot of time, a lot of meaningful data is just sitting in the database, right? So they will have lot of databases and everything, and lot of time, in big enterprises, meaningful data is just sitting idle there. Okay, now what happens? Management sometimes uh, sees that management sees, okay, we are having this data. Okay, this is I mean, we can do something with this data. They will think, okay, we have this data which is just lying just idle here. Let's build some logic over this data, build some feature, and utilize this data, and make it available as an API. Okay, so they will see this is data. So they will think, let's, I mean, expose some feature using this data. This data can be really useful. So let's create something, add some business logic, and make it available as an API. Okay, so management decides, okay, let's do that. Then what they will do is they will create one API team. Okay, so this API team, okay, it will build API in a traditional programming language. It can be Java, it can be .NET, it can be Python, any traditional programming language they will use. Okay, so Node.js, whatever. So any traditional language in this programming, in this traditional platform, they will talk to backend. Okay, the database, whatever, you will talk to the data source or database, add the business logic. It will take care of functional requirements. So it will take care of functional requirements, perform some logic, apply business logic, and then this API will be available. So they will build this API using traditional platform, a traditional programming language. Now next step will be to make it available for consumption to the outside world. Correct. Now this is where Apigee comes to picture. So Apigee does not usually contain the programming logic, the actual business logic, right? So API in Apigee, they usually take care of non-functional requirements. So most of the time, most of the non-functional requirements are taken care by Apigee. The functional requirements are usually taken care by the backend APIs. It can be REST API, it can be anything, backend service or backend API. It can be a SOAP API, REST API, whatever. Okay, so it is taken care by those things. Okay, Apigee will enable these API, whatever logic that we are having, to be accessible to outside world. Okay, by providing security, providing performance, providing fault tolerance, those kind of things, right? So the data is safe, scalability, all kind of thing. So non-functional requirements are mostly taken care by Apigee here. Okay, so it will now using Apigee, this API will be available for consumption. Okay, then what happens? This developer, this developer is a front end developer. It can be mobile developer, web developer, anyone who is developing a front end system. So, okay, so this is like a consumer. So this developer is basically consumer developer. Okay, so this developer will come. This developer might be building a mobile app. Okay, so developer will register himself here on Apigee platform. So developer will create his account. Developer will then also register his application. So there will be a registration form kind of thing. So they will register the information. Okay, this is my app, I'm building this app and everything information. And then Apigee will generate one client ID, client secret. Okay, a key and secret for the app. So Apigee will generate an app key and app secret, and then using that, developer will build the mobile app, developer will call the APIs. Okay, and then get the response, anything. So obviously when you make a API call, obviously the data mostly we do is in JSON, the JSON format. So they will call the Apigee URL, they will send the data in JSON format, Apigee will provide response in JSON format. Now this app will add the presentation logic, right? Nice CSS, HTML, whatever, and everything. So they will use the very nice UI, everything, to display the data in a very nice UI format. And eventually that app will be used by a customer. That customer can be a non-technical person. It can be lawyer, it can be anyone, lawyer, farmer, doctor, anything, teacher, any kind of this thing. Okay, so that customer can be anything. Okay, so usually so now you can see different platforms. So here, from this database to delivering value to this customer, right? From generating from database to that delivering final value to the customer, there are different systems available, and they are forming a chain to deliver a digital value, right? The API team will add certain value, this API gateway is enabling it. So this is enabler of digital value chain, right? To make sure this API is available to consumption, then developer comes, app will have. So all of them will add a value. Finally, it will form a chain to deliver a value to the customer, right? So we call it a
Okay.
digital value chain.
S- Okay, so APG is what you're saying uh, is an API gateway, right?
Correct. So yeah, this is what we do. And a very good example of a digital value chain. I already gave you one example of the transfer data, money transfer, correct? In the using mobile banking and then net banking.
Mm,
Same another very good example is like your Facebook, right? Just upload a pic on your Facebook on your using mobile, and at the same instance, if you log in from your laptop, you will see whatever picture that you uploaded, that picture is visible there, correct? So
mm.
that kind of thing, that is what we call it connected experience, or call it a digital platforms and everything. Okay. Sorry. So now APG, the main services of APG can be categorized into these four categories. What are the things that system APG provides? It is regardless of this thing, APG Edge, APGX, both of them, they have the same thing. Okay. So first category is developer ecosystem. So for that, APG uh, actually previously APG used to provide their own developer portal also, which was built in Drupal. Nowadays, APG provides a API portal which has some limited capabilities. Okay, but yeah, for developer ecosystem, APG provides you ability to create API catalog. Okay, you can call APIs to get a catalog. You can create your client SDKs. Okay, you can build API product. We will cover this API product as a separate topic altogether. But for the current, just for the understanding purpose, you can understand. So basically, like combining the APIs and offering them as a bundling bundling multiple APIs, offering them as a single entity to the developer. Okay, so that
Okay.
developer will subscribe to product, all the APIs which are part of that product will be subscribed automatically. Okay, so for example, you have payment API and SMS API, you don't have to subscribe to two different APIs, correct? You can create one product and the product can be subscribed like this. Okay, so that APG has this facility. APG provides API monetization. So APG has a module called monetization. Usually, it is not part of the standard APG license. You have to pay additional money for monetization license. Okay, but API monetization, you can, yeah, as the name says, you can generate revenue through your APIs. So there are many APIs like Twilio. I don't know. Have you heard the name of Twilio?
Yeah, I heard.
Twilio. So Twilio, their whole thing is, their whole economy is API only. So they provide SMS API, email API. Okay. So using SMS, when you want to send SMS, you can use Twilio. You can subscribe to the Twilio packages for SMS package and all. Call their APIs, and that's it. The same way. So if you want to generate revenue through your APIs, you can do that. A lot of payment gateways, right? So they provide APIs for payment gateway and all those stuff. You can generate revenue using them. Okay, so like this. So if you have APIs where you can generate revenue, you can yeah, you can use API monetization. So APG provides that module of monetization where you can create your monetized packaging and everything. Okay. Apart from that, you can do API marketplace like a single platform for publishing all your APIs. So regardless of this thing, so all your APIs from different departments, everything can be published using APG. Okay, and then anyone who comes to consume your API can find all your APIs at a single place, and then start integration, start building the applications, registering application, and get the client ID, client secret, and start consuming. Okay, so all these are coming up, so all these facilities are there which are part of the developer ecosystem. Then analytics. So see, APG, because it is API gateway, that is a single entry point for all your consumers, right? So anything that comes inside your system will come via APG. Okay, so APG will have millions of consumer, correct? There can be millions of client, and there can be hundreds of backends, right? Different backend system, there can be hundreds, but APG layer will be common. Okay, so that APG layer, because all the data comes from outside world through APG, all the data that goes outside from inside, from your to outside world, will be going via APG, right? So APG becomes a single source of truth, okay, to provide you a clear information on what is coming inside, what is going outside. Okay, which kind of consumers are calling, what kind of apps are calling, which developers are calling, which apps are calling, which kind of user, geographic location, everything, what backends are getting called, how much time they are taking, how much time is being consumed on APG, how much time is consumed on the backend. All kind of different reports, different graphs and charts you can build using APG. Okay, so there can be so you can build your reports and graphs and chart for different kind of stakeholders. So one for developer engagement metrics, so related to developers you can build lot of reports related to developers. For business purpose you can build a lot of reports. You can build reports for operations team and everything. A whole API program matrix you can build, and you can also do the API monitoring and alerting based on this analytics data. Okay, so all kind of things you can do in APG. Okay, so analytics comes out of box with APG. You don't have to do anything. So there are many reports which are given to you by APG, and you can create your own custom reports also. It is all supported. Okay, so analytics is it is very underrated, but it is very useful feature that APG provides. Okay, and nowadays when we are talking about data and everything, analytics and all, so that becomes very important because a lot of data will be there in APG. That data can be used even now if someone want to use any kind of AI tool or something to analyze the data. APG can provide that kind of data to be analyzed. Okay. And now after that we have a mediation engine basically is the main processing part of APG. So the main data processing or request or response processing, that all comes in the mediation engine. So the main features so far is you provide security, that is there in APG. So transformation, APG provides extensions, so like you can add your custom code also. If you want to add a custom code, you can do add custom coding also. Also you can integrate with some other cloud services, we will see. So there are some ready-made cloud services in APGX. They have added more extensions compared to APG Edge. In APG Edge there are only few selected services of GCP, AWS, and Salesforce and all are there. In APGX now there are extension for a lot more features. Okay, so this is something that APG has now done a lot more in APGX compared to APG Edge. Okay, apart from that you can do orchestration. So orchestration means calling more than one API in a single API call. So client will call APG once, but in the same API flow, APG can call multiple different APIs, backend APIs for example. Okay, to combine the data, provide the process the response, provide a combined response to the consumer. So consumer doesn't have to call multiple APIs, APG can take care of that. So make it more simple for consumer. So consumer will call APG only once. APG internally will call multiple APIs and combine the responses.
This
That can be.
orchestration, can you uh, show me in a separate page only orchestration with the diagram how it's happening?
We will cover this. We already have in subsequent slides and all. We will cover this. So
Okay,
don't worry
okay,
about
all
it.
right.
There will be a
Yeah,
diagram in the
okay.
subsequent.
Yeah, yeah,
This is
because
just
you're going very fast, right? I'm just trying to, I'm understanding, but it's too fast to grasp, right? So
this is just the
that's the
introduction
reason.
of the thing. Don't worry. All these
Yeah,
things
yeah,
that we are
okay.
doing here, okay. For each of them, they
Okay,
are going to be multiple slides. Okay, we will spend many
okay,
hours each single of
okay,
these, because this is just to get
okay.
you familiar with the term. So don't worry. Even if you don't
Yeah, yeah.
understand how it works and all, at least you understand. Okay, this is what it does and all this. Okay,
Okay,
even
okay, fine.
means this getting familiar with the term. Okay, orchestration is
Yeah,
a
yeah.
separate topic altogether. All there are a lot of diagrams available and everything. We will cover this also in the detail. Okay, even everything.
Okay,
The
okay.
security itself is a chapter number whole. Chapter 5 is all about security only. So that's what. So
Mhm.
this is just to give an idea of what exactly APG does. So this is like very high level. So you don't, even if you don't understand something in depth, okay, at least you get familiar with the term. Right now the main aim is like just get familiar with the term, what exactly is there, and we will cover this thing everything in detail later on. Okay,
Mhm.
so we have multiple slides for them. Okay,
Okay.
yeah. So basically, yeah, so basically, yeah, so APG provides orchestration, basically calling multiple services, providing the responses. Okay, and then we have API abuse prevention. So API abuse prevention basically, yeah, so make sure that unauthorized access and all those stuff, right? Those are not there. So again, so those kind of things APG makes sure. Okay, so these are the main things which are done as part of the mediation engine. Okay,
mm,
now next is the API runtime. So API runtime is basically what are the different flavors of APG. Okay, so one flavor is called, so call it enterprise gateway. So APG has multiple things. One is which is completely hosted by APG. So in APG customer where they don't have to install APG, okay, everything is hosted by APG. Everything is hosted by Google Cloud or APG. Okay, that is APG X. Okay, and APG public cloud, APG Edge public cloud. Okay, we call it public cloud version because it is hosted by APG only. Okay, so okay, so that is, so there you don't have to do any installation, you just have to use APG. Okay, so use APG, you will have dashboard and everything, you will build your APIs, everything, and you can do some part of, one part only, some part of the administration. Okay, some part of the administration, so you don't have to host anything, you don't have to install anything. Okay, that is the APGX, APG public cloud. And there is one thing where APG provides you the complete software. Okay, APG provides you complete software, you install the APG software on your own premises. We call APG, call it OPDK, on premise development kit. Okay, OPDK, or we also call it private cloud. Okay, so private cloud is basically when everything is installed on the cloud of the client. So APG customer, whoever has got the APG license, they provide all their virtual machines, everything, and APG is installed on their VMs and it is provided there. Okay, so that is APG private cloud. So APG X, okay, which is hosted by Google, APG Edge public cloud, which is hosted by APG, and you can do only thing, and APG private cloud. All these three things are part of, are called enterprise gateway. All of these three are part of the enterprise gateway. Okay, because this is the enterprise level gateway where you are getting the full features of the APG platform. Okay, then there is something called hybrid. So hybrid is basically some part of APG is hosted by the uh, APG. Okay, it is by Google Cloud. So some part of APG is hosted by Google Cloud or basically APG, and some part is hosted by the APG customer. So only few things will be installed on the customer side. Basically the runtime traffic. Okay, so runtime data is managed by APG customer, but the platform management and everything, controlling of platform, that is by Google Cloud. So it is like a hybrid, so we call it hybrid. Here it is a multi-cloud architecture. Okay, so because some part is by Google Cloud, some part is by the client, so it is called hybrid gateway. Okay, so that is one of the offerings of APG. Okay, then so these two are like, when you get a license, you will either get an enterprise license or hybrid license. Okay, other three that you see here, micro gateway, adapter, and hosted target, these are only the features. Okay, only one part of APG. You don't need to buy license of these three. So these are only Node.js based platform. So these are the micro gateway, is like a Node.js based tool. So you can install your APG micro gateway, but you have to combine it with your APG Edge subscription. So either you need to have APG enterprise gateway, either you it should be APG public cloud, or it can be on your private cloud. Okay, so you need to buy that license, and apart from that you can install this micro gateway, which is a node, nothing but a simple Node.js based module. In the Node.js module, it only provides some very limited capabilities. You can do some little bit of OAuth security, some quota rate limiting, throttling, only two three things. Okay, it cannot do much. Okay, so this is like, if you don't want the full gateway feature, if you want limited feature, and you want your consumer is also within your network, your backend is also in your network, and you want to apply a gateway feature there, so in a very specific use case, so APG provides micro gateway, which is nothing but a Node.js based platform. Like micro gateway and istio adapter, these are same thing. So micro gateway talks to a backend system, istio adapter talks to istio. So istio is a microservices platform. Okay, or now istio is discontinued, we call it onoi, envoi. There is onoi platform. So I'm not sure if your team might be using, because I have never used this at all. Okay, and I have not seen anyone use this. So basically there is a microservices. Before microservices, you want to apply some gateway feature, and your customer also is from your inside the network. So your client is inside your network, and you have a microservices platform, and you want to apply some limited APG features, okay, like as I said, OAuth and some rate limiting. Then you can use this micro gateway, or you can use this adapter, APG Envoy adapter. They are nothing but a Node.js based platform. Okay.
Okay.
A hosted target is actually discontinued. You might not need this because APGX does not have it. It was this feature is only available on APG Edge public cloud version. It is not even in the private cloud. So I think you can ignore that. But this was just manage. So in APG previous, so APG used to allow to host your Node.js code. So if you have written a Node.js code, you want to host it on APG. APG, you can host it on APG, and APG will call this Node.js as a target or as a backend. So like this was feature, but now it is not continued anymore. In future, it is going to be anyways in APG public cloud only. It is there in hybrid APGX, APG private cloud. Everywhere it is now retired. So you might not even need to worry about all this. Okay. So these are different runtimes available. Now this is the logical components of APG. So this it is going to be same in APGH, APGX. These components are going to be same. Okay. So even though it is mentioned APGH, the same way is there. So in APG, the main component is called gateway component. In gateway, there are two parts. One is called router, another one is called message processor (MP). Okay. So router is just basically just an Nginx server. Okay. So Nginx is like a web server, like Apache web server. You might have heard, right? Apache, Nginx. These are very common web servers. So APG router is built on using Nginx. This is clear, or in case you have any doubt or anything, please feel free to ask anything. Okay.
Yeah, yeah, sure. Go ahead. I'll ask if anything. Yeah.
Sure. So this is when the request comes, okay, when anyone makes a call will come to router. Router is built in nothing but Nginx, okay. It is using Nginx platform. Nginx, it will receive the request and it will route. It will not do anything. It will receive the request. It will route to message processor (MP). MP is the main APG part. MP or message processor is the main APG component. This is where all your proxy code, whatever we write, right? Proxy code or configuration, whatever you call, everything is executed in the message processor (MP). Okay, it is executed here. So this is the main processing engine. So from MP, then from message processor, obviously you will call some backend service, correct? You will call some backend service. So MP will then call the backend service. Actually, call goes from message processor to the backend service. Then and the response comes. Now here, Cassandra is the main platform database. The APG as a platform, the database of APG platform is Cassandra. Okay. The reason because Cassandra is distributed by nature. So even if so Cassandra comes in node of 333 kind of thing. So when you install Cassandra, you install Cassandra on three servers, either 3 or 6 or 9. So Cassandra comes in the uh, you know grouping of three kind of thing. Okay. So because of that, even if one Cassandra goes down, other two Cassandra servers are up like this. Okay. So that is the reason why, because APG is distributed by nature. APG uses Cassandra as a database. All your proxy code that we upload, okay, whenever we have to upload the proxy code on APG, that is the same APG code that is stored in Cassandra only. All the consumer OAuth tokens, API keys, client applications, developer details, app details, everything. Okay, all the key value map data, all the data that is there, that is stored in Cassandra only. Okay, so Cassandra. So router, MP, and Cassandra. Okay, these three are also known as API runtime, because only these three components are utilized during the API call in the runtime. Okay, and these three are also known as critical path. So we call use two terms, either critical path or API runtime, because these three are need to be up. If one of these three goes down, okay, if one of these three go down, there can be problem. Okay, so because of that reason, when we are installing APG or when APG is set up, when someone does the APG setup and all, they always use more than one router. Okay, minimum two routers and minimum of two message processor. And Cassandra anyways by default comes in three, so there are minimum three Cassandra. So you install router, MP, and Cassandra more than one systems. Okay, they are as a part, more than one system. Okay, so that even if one goes down, other is up. Okay, so we make sure these are in, we call it HA mode, high availability. These three should be available in the high availability HA mode. Okay. So these three are, yeah, API runtime. We call it API runtime, or we have critical path. So these three should be up. At least one of, I mean, at least one server of these three should be up. For Cassandra, there should be two server. If the Cassandra, if one goes down, two should be up.
Just to inform, I am already AWS certified. I've already worked with AWS cloud, so I
Okay.
know those things. So don't worry about that.
Okay, then it is great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's so yeah. Okay. So now, so these three are like critical paths. Then what happens in APG when the request comes, right? So when APG comes, the when request come to message processor, when the request comes to MP will dump the data in the Cupid, Apache Cupid. Okay. So Apache Cupid is the queue system. APG uses Apache Cupid as a queue. So MP will dump the data in Apache Cupid. So here we have mentioned analytics services. Analytics has
Uh-huh.
multiple. Okay. So first the data will come to Cupid. Okay. Then what APG does is APG has a Java based program. APG has a Java based program. We call it Cupid server. The Cupid server will read data from Cupid. Okay. And put the data in your Postgres. Okay. So then APG will read data from Cupid. Sorry, the uh, Cupid server will read data from Cupid, put it in the Postgres. So Postgres is the database of analytics. Okay. So
Okay.
analytics, all the analytics data is stored in Postgres. Then there is another server called Postgres server. It is again built by APG, Java based complete. So internally APG is completely in Java. Okay, anything that APG has built, they have built in Java only. So Postgres server, it will read data from Postgres. It will then format the data, because when you are putting data in the Postgres, first time it will go as a raw format. It will put it in the raw format. Then now Postgres server will read the data from Postgres. It will do the formatting and then put it back in the different tables. Okay. So all the analytics data will go in the Postgres. So Cassandra is the platform database, APG platform, and Postgres is the analytics database. Okay. Now then every APG component, every APG platform, the whole APG platform itself is available as a API. So any kind of administration, any kind of adding the server, removing server, adding any entry in the Cassandra, adding anything or reading anything from your analytics, whatever, any kind of activity that you want to do. Okay. APG does not give you direct access. Okay. Obviously, if you are expert in Cassandra and you can log in and run the query, that is different one. But in APG, all kind of access to every component, everything is done using admin level APIs. We call them management APIs. Okay. So this is all built in Java only. These management APIs are built in Java. So any kind of admin activity that you want to do, any kind of admin activity, it is all performed using this management API. Okay. So basically the whole platform of APG comes as an API. Okay. So this is like a platform level APIs. Okay. So here, and then on top of it, APG has built a play UI in Play framework. So in APGX, that UI is same. Okay. It is built in Play framework. So from where you can see all the nice, in a nice presentable way. You can do the dashboard, basically APG dashboard, which is there. Okay. From there you can click on button, it will create proxy, click on button, you can do this all kind of thing. So this is all built in Play framework. We call it APG Edge UI or Enterprise UI. We call it that. Okay. So this UI does not have any logic internally. Whenever you click on button or do anything, it will call your management API. Management API will do that activity, get the response, and this UI will provide you the status. Okay. And then we have the portal. So this developer portal, again, so portal also will call management API only. Through management API only, it will get the list of developers, list of applications, or create app, or publish anything. So portal also, so API portal also will call the management API. So any kind of admin activities on platform, it is all done using management APIs only. Okay.
Okay.
So this is
And
this is
do
all
we
the.
have any documentation or any other summary on the logical components?
Sure. So basically you can find everything in the docs.ap.com. Yeah. But from APGX point of view, if you're thinking from APGX point of view, you don't have to worry about all these because APGX, like APG public cloud, is hosted by APG. Okay, so you don't have to worry about all these internal things and all those stuff. But yeah, it is like a nice to know thing, right? Good to know,
Yeah,
understand
yeah,
that architecture kind of thing. Yeah, but APGX also is the same thing. Okay,
yeah. Okay.
so
So
anyways,
I had this. I'm just want to clear this logic. So APG is a SaaS, right? Is
correct.
provided as a SaaS, correct? So so these components which you are saying, so these all must be again hosted in cloud, right? So this
Google Cloud.
Cassandra, the
Yes,
so
yes,
everything is on Google Cloud, right? Google Cloud, right? All
correct.
this.
Yes, yes, yes.
Okay.
Okay. So hybrid, as you
For
can see,
hybrid,
so
you said that few should be hosted by Google Cloud and few by the enterprise. They would be
correct.
having it, right?
So what happens? When I told you about the logical thing, I mentioned these three things, correct? Router, MP,
Yeah,
Cassandra. These three are the
correct.
runtime. Right? So during
Mm-hmm.
runtime, these three are the only components which are involved. These are the critical path. This is where the meaningful processing and all happens, right? So these three should be up. So what happens? So these three take part in runtime data. Others are there, but they are not like a runtime, not essential to the runtime, correct? These three are
Mm-hmm.
essential to the runtime. So what happens? What APG has done is APG has created Kubernetes clusters, okay, for all three, for router, for MP, and for Cassandra. Okay, so APG creates APG has created cluster for all three, and APG will give the Kubernetes cluster to the customer. Okay, so APG customer will uh, host that Kubernetes cluster within their system because API runtime happens there. So the main reason of hybrid is that some of the banking platforms and everything, especially in the financial sector and all those stuff, you don't want your runtime data to be going outside, correct? You want the runtime data to be inside your network, okay, so that you can
Mm-hmm.
put control. So you don't want the runtime data to be hosted in by some cloud provider because that can be compliance and all those stuff, okay.
Mm-hmm.
So people want to have the more control on data, so that's why API runtime will be within their network, okay. But other things, the management part, you live still do it on APG, okay. So management, server,
Okay.
analytics, all kind of things, those will be in the still be hosted by the APG, okay.
Mm.
So that they yeah so they so that is how now, because it is multi-cloud architecture, so they have to make sure there are some ports are open, right? So connectivity is there between GCP to the customer cloud, okay. This thing, or and vice versa, and also this thing, uh, there should be connectivity from the your customer cloud to the uh, Google Cloud GCP services also. So the other things like Google IAM, Google account,
Mm.
BigQuery, Matrix logging, all kind of thing. There is a proper connectivity in place. So connectivity should be there for APG services also, and for the other GCP services also. So this connectivity should be in place. So that is like a prerequisite for this. Okay. So that's why. So that's what they actually. To be honest, what is APGX is nothing but your hybrid within Google Cloud. Okay, that is what that is
Okay.
APGX. Okay, in hybrid. So here APG provides you some part, correct? Some part they have given to hosting. Now if you don't want to take care of this hosting also, APG provides you that same hosting thing which is given here, and that they call it APGX. There is nothing, no other difference. Okay, it is like a
Mm.
GCP provided multi-cloud kind of thing, but because both are in the GCP, so kind of okay. So that's what
Okay.
it does. Architecture of the hybrid, actually, so they've actually built the hybrid first, and then they what they did, they yeah, using the same hybrid thing, they created APGX, which is nothing but because if you don't want to provide even a runtime infrastructure, we are providing you the runtime and we put it there. They call it APGX. Okay, architecture of the hybrid and
Okay.
APGX is same. Okay, only thing is that
Oh,
here there is no second cloud. The runtime also is provided by APG, but they are like now in the uh, yeah, Kubernetes cluster of all these things. Okay.
If you like our videos, then subscribe to our channel and be a part of the journey with GoLogica and stay connected with the latest videos.